Hey y'all, so we are on 11.3 now, but before we get started on the area of trapezoids, let's do a quick recap of what we did yesterday of 11.2, the area of triangles. So we know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base of my triangle times the height of my triangle. Now the triangle that I'm looking for is this one here that I'm just right now outlining in red. I'm going to keep my 1/2, and the base of that outlined in red triangle is 7. The height of that triangle is 10. This is the height of the triangle. It's not in the triangle, but it's the height of it. It's from the bottom point, the bottom base, to the top point. That length is 10. And so now we're going to get 1/2 times 70, and we'll get our 35 units squared. That's the area of the outlined in red triangle. Let's move forward now. Again, we're going to be focusing on the area of trapezoids, and this may be new for several of you. We're going to be talking about the height of our trapezoids, the bases, and look, it's plural because there's two bases, the top of our trapezoid and the bottom of our trapezoid. And also we'll be talking about the median of our trapezoid. Here's a trapezoid. Now, you're going to have to forgive me because a lot of things transferred improperly on this slide and on a few slides ahead. On your notes, you have b sub 2, not b times 2. And on your notes, you have b sub 1, not b times 1. And that represents my top base and the length of my bottom base. I also have my height written in here. So those are three things we need to be focusing on right now: the bottom base, the top base, and the height. And there's another thing we'll be talking about regarding our trapezoid in just a second. Area of a trapezoid, let's picture this plus sign coming in here. Again, my apologies. So the way that our notes is, it's 1/2 our height times the sum of our two bases, the top and the bottom. Forgive me again for it not transferring correctly on this Explain Everything slide. So the area A of a trapezoid whose bases have lengths b sub 1 and b sub 2 and whose altitude has length h is given by this equation. 1/2 times the height of our trapezoid times the sum of our bases. And I'll show you why in class why this formula works. So the median of a trapezoid then is the segment. Now it's a new word, and all it is a segment, and it connects the midpoint of the legs of the trapezoid. So here are the legs, and I'm going to mark in my midpoints, and the median is such a line as this. The median can be found by finding the averages of the bases. So we have two bases here. One is 14 and one is 6. How do we find the average of two things? We take the sum of them and we divide by 2. So the median is simply the average of our two bases. This plus sign needs to be moved in here the way it is on your notes that I handed out to you guys in class. So again, the median is the sum of the two bases divided by 2. It's the average. So on this slide, things got messed up again. This is what we just went over. The area is 1/2 the height times the sum of the bases. Now, we're going to get rid of this I, and we're going to replace it by a multiplied sign. This time, I'm writing it as h is 1/2 the sum of my bases. I just switched my 1/2 and my h over from my top formula. I have my h on the outside and my 1/2 next to my base 1, base 2, just to show you that it is an average. It's the sum of the two bases divided by 2, and that is how you find your median. So we're going to get rid of the I, replace it with a multiplied sign, and the area is h times our median. And again, the median is the average of the bases. Let's start using the formula now. Find the area of a trapezoid, and I like you guys always to underline what they're asking you for. If its height is 5, and the median of the trapezoid is 12. So here's a trapezoid. My height is 5, and it's giving me the median. The median is 12. So I want to show you that area equals 1/2 the height times the sum of my bases, which is the median. So I'm going to write its height times the median. The height is 5, the median is 12, and I get my answer as 70 inches squared. All right, moving on. Example 2, find the area, let's underline that again, of the isosceles trapezoid. All right, I know I need 1/2 times my height times the sum of my bases. Here I'm given both the bases. I'm looking for my height. Check it out. We have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. But I need a piece of information, either the short leg, the long leg, or the hypotenuse. But ultimately what I'm looking for is the long leg. All right, let's try and figure this out. From here to here I've got 14, which is going to show me from here to here is 14. The remaining two sides are going to be equal because it is isosceles. And if I have 20 minus 14, I get 6, and I'm going to divide that by 2 to get 3 for each of these lengths. Now it's a 30, 60, 90. If my short leg is 3, I'm going to call that x. The hypotenuse is 2x, and the long leg is x root 3. Now if x is 3, I know that the long leg is going to be 3 root 3 because x is 3. Okay, so I have my height now. It's 3 root 3. Now let's plug everything in this formula here. I have 1/2 times my height, which is 3 root 3, times the sum of my bases. Now let's do some algebra and clean this up. I'll have 1/2 times my height, and 20 plus 14 is 34. Let's keep cleaning this up, and I'm going to get 213 root 3 inches squared. And the way I got 213 was I took my 3, multiplied it by my 34, and divided it by 2, and I keep my root 3. Example 3, find the area of the trapezoid below. So area equals, let's say, height times our median, which also equals 1/2 times my height times the sum of my bases. Okay, let's keep moving on. I have one base, and I have a height. And from here to here I've got 16. But what's missing? This length. Okay, let's try and figure this out. I have 16 and 16 and 12 and 12 for over here. I'm given that the hypotenuse is 15. So I'll call this x, and let's use Pythagorean theorem. X squared plus 12 squared equals 15 squared. So let's solve that, and I'll get x squared plus 144 equals 225. Subtract 144 from both sides, and I have x squared equals 81, which leaves me with x equals 9. Okay, so plug it all in up here. 1/2 times the height times the sum of my bases. I have 16 for the top base, and the bottom base is going to be 9 plus 16, which gives me 25. Let's do some algebra here, and I'll get 6 times 41, multiply those, and we get 246 centimeters squared. Let's do some more examples. Example 4. Now, find the shorter base of a trapezoid if the area is 52 square meters, its altitude is 8, and its longer base is 10. Let's draw this out. Here's a trapezoid. Find the shorter base, it's saying, so I'll call it x. The altitude is 8, and I'm given that the longer base is 10. Lastly, I'm given that the area equals 52. So let's plug this in. I have area equals my height times my median, and I'll rewrite that as height times the average of the bases. And so far I have the area is 52, and that equals the height times base 1, which I don't know, I'm going to call it x in just a second, plus 10 divided by 2. Now what should we do? Let's get 52 equals 4. Now I'm going to replace base 1 with the variable that I have as x. X plus 10. Now in that step, I took my 8 and my 2 and I simplified it and got my 4 on there. Okay, next step, I'll distribute my 4 and I'll have 52 equals 4x plus 40. Okay, now let's subtract 40 from both sides, and I'll have 12 equals 4x. Divide both sides by 4 and I get x equals 3 meters. And what is x? X is my base 1. Awesome. Last example, Rams. Let's check this one out. The consecutive sides of an isosceles trapezoid are in the ratio of 2 to 5 to 10 to 5, and the trapezoid's perimeter is 44. I'll underline find the area. And this means 2x, 5x, 10x, and 5x. We've done some of these ratio problems before. Now let's find the area. I'm given the perimeter is 44. I'm going to take a sum of my 2x plus 5x plus 10x plus 5x and equal that to my perimeter. Simplify it and I get 22x equals 44, and now x equals 2. Am I finished? Nope, because they're asking me for the area. So now let's write in these sides. This here is now going to equal 2 times 2, which is 4. This is going to be 5 times 2, which is 10. And this is going to be 10 times 2, which is 20. And again, this will be 10. These are my side lengths. And they're asking me for my area. So for the area, you need the height times the median. And the median is the sum of your bases divided by 2. I have both of my bases. This one's 4 and this one's 20, but I don't have my height. Let's draw that in here. Also here, I know they're isosceles because they're both 10. Now, if this here is 4 and my entire length is 20, I'm going to have 16 will be the sum of these two bases, because I did 20 minus 4. Now, if 20 minus 4 is 16, and 16 is the sum of both of those bases, I'm going to divide it by 2 and get 8 is the length of each base. Okay? Now, why am I finding that? I have the triangle out here. I was given that this was 10, and I just found that this was 8. And the whole point of that is because I'm looking for the height of my trapezoid. Let's find it now using Pythagorean theorem. I'll get 10 squared equals h squared plus 8 squared. And now if we keep solving for this, we get 100 equals h squared plus 64. I subtract 64 from both sides and I get 36 equals h squared, which now gives me a height of 6. I have my height, folks. It's 6. This looks messy, but let's start plugging it in. The height is 6, and I'm going to multiply it by my median, which is 1/2 times the sum of my bases. I have 4, and I have 20. Now once you do the math, and I don't have that much space here, you will get 72 units squared. Okay, my sweet little rams, this is your homework for tonight, and I'll see you in class. Bye!